Welcome to the Compensation Mastery Tool Results Step, third and final tab, the income tax analysis for the prospective job that we inputted. Let's take a look at it. So we'll do the same income tax analysis breakdown for federal, FICA, and state income taxes here. And what we'll see at a high level is that this prospective job has a lot higher taxable income. So it looks like it's a lot more money, but you're paying a lot more taxes, and the benefits and the subsidies specifically are much less generous on this job compared to the current job that we've inputted, and results in only a little bit more total net compensation. So let's take a look at the details. So for the total compensation is $171,200, which is a lot higher than the current job. Our gross earnings were $166,000. That comprises the salary and the bonuses that was on offer. Taxes were a lot higher. Federal, FICA, and state combined have an estimated $40,810, leaving us with a net earnings of $125,190. So that's the 166 of gross earnings minus the 40 grand in taxes leaves the 125. The other income we'll get here is only $5,200. It's only the investment match that they offered. There was no subsidies here of any kind. So there was no childcare subsidy, no education subsidy, no commute subsidy, no gym subsidy either. So no subsidies at all. So it's a much lower number compared to the current job. Also, the costs here are higher. We had higher commute costs here, a lot higher healthcare costs as well. All that together leads to a net compensation after the taxes and after the costs of $111,490. And what you'll notice is, I'm going to go back to the current job tab. So we've got this really high number on top, this $171,200, and the salary and bonuses of $166,000, which sounds like a lot more, and it is. But the net compensation is only a little over $3,000 higher than the current job. So the current job had the much lower gross salary, but much higher benefits. That's why the net compensation is only a little bit higher. So it's really important to look at all components of the compensation package. Otherwise, you might get duped or might take a suboptimal decision based on incomplete information. Okay, now let's go down to the same tax charts here. We'll expand them all. And what we see here is we have the same setup as before, where our taxable income is $166,000. And from left to right, we will walk through all the tax brackets. And what you'll see here actually is, since this is so much higher of an income, that the federal tax, we enter the 24% bracket. The current job, we only hit the 22% bracket. But since we're making so much more money here, we enter the 24% bracket as the top bracket. So on the left side, we'll start with the deductions. We've got the same standard deduction of $20,800. That comes from the filing head of household and for tax year 2023. And the health insurance premiums here are $12,000. That's a lot higher than the $4,500 from the current job. So these two together give us a total deduction amount of $32,800. So that's great that the first $32,800 is subject to zero income tax whatsoever for the federal taxes. And we do the same walk up the chart here. The next $11,000 is taxed at 10%. The next $33,724 is taxed at 12%, then the 22%, and the highest one here is 24%. And add all these red slices up of the taxes and the gray slices of the net income tax. We come up with the same $166,000 for gross. The taxes is $25,368, left with a net of $140,632 from the charts. On the right side, we got the tax on the brackets of $25,368, but we still qualify for the child tax credit of $2,000 per child. And in this scenario, we have two kids, so we subtract that full $4,000 as a credit, which is fantastic, leaving us with a total tax for federal of $21,368 estimated. Along the bottom, we have that same yellow chart here that shows the same information, just in a bit different format. Let's go to FICA next. We got the same story here, where the only deductions allowed for FICA taxes is your healthcare deductions or health insurance premiums. So the first $12,000 in this case is FICA tax-free, 0%. The next bracket is still only in the 7.65% bracket, which leaves a total on the right side of tax of $11,781. On the right side, that's from the brackets, and here again, FICA tax, there's no credits offered to reduce your FICA tax liability. So the estimated FICA tax liability here is that same $11,781. Last, we'll go to the state taxes. This state tax is New York, and again, this looks completely different from California and a lot of other states because each state does their own income tax brackets totally independently and separately. They can do whatever they want. So here, it's the same progressive income tax where there's multiple tax brackets and the percentage increases with each step of income that you reach. That differs from a flat tax where it's just one rate only for all the income. It also differs from no income tax, of course, like Texas or Florida or Alaska. So for New York, their standard deduction for the status house head of household is $11,200. They also offer a $1,000 deduction for each dependent. In this case, it's $2,000 because we have two dependents. It's giving a total, plus also the health insurance premiums. So our total deductions is $25,200 for the state of New York. Notice that New York has this $2,000 deduction. It's not as generous as a dependent credit of $2,000 because again, this only lowers our taxable income by $2,000. It doesn't do a dollar for dollar reduction of the actual tax liability. So it's nice that they offer something for it, but it's not as generous as a credit. So the first tax bracket is the deductions, which is 0%, which is fantastic. And then the first taxable bracket for New York is 4%, then 4.5%, 5.25%, 5.5%, and up to 6% in this case. They do go up a lot higher, but you have to earn a lot more money. Their top income bracket is in the millions of dollars for the state of New York. Now you'll notice that these steps are really small. This 4.5% and this 5.25% bracket is very small. I don't know why it's that small. The New York legislature passed this at some point. So they have these really narrow brackets for some reason, and I'm not sure why. But we add up all these red slices from all the taxes from each of the brackets. And on the right side, we get the total amount, which is $76.61 for tax on the gross salary of $166,000 from the charts. In this case, New York does not offer any credits. There's no personal tax credit. There's no dependent credit, just a dependent deduction on the left side. So we don't subtract anything, unfortunately. So our estimated New York tax is $76.61 in this scenario. Along the bottom, again, the same yellow information that shows step by step what the tax liability is for each of those brackets. And if you'd like some assistance from me about what this all means, what the taxes mean, anything about your job offers that you don't understand, or anything about salary negotiations, be happy to help. Please go to my coaching page and book some time with me. Let's download the PDF that shows the same information that we just walked through in an easily downloadable, printable format. So on the top of page 1, let's go bigger here. There we go. We've got that same pie chart that shows all the summary of the components of the compensation. So that total compensation is $171,200, the gross earnings of $166,000, which is a lot higher than the current job, but the much bigger tax amount of a little over $40,000 estimated for federal, FICA, and state. Also shows our less generous other income, which has no subsidies for this case, and only a $5,200 401k match, leaving us a total net compensation of a little over $111,000. On the bottom half of page 1, we've got the just summary numbers of the federal, FICA, and state taxes, the deduction amounts, and the credits that may be offered, as well as the estimated total tax on the right side. And lastly, on page 2, it shows the breakdown bracket by bracket and chart by chart and amount by amount of the federal, FICA, and state income taxes. Across the top, we've got the gross earnings, filing status as head of household, and we have 2 dependents. And so it shows the same charts that shows you the deduction amount in blue each tax bracket with the corresponding amount of state or amount of tax that is incurred, as shown by the red lines, and then the gray lines show the net tax for each of those brackets. On the right half, it shows those total taxes from the brackets. Subtract those credits, if any, leaves a total tax for federal, in this case of $21,368. And same thing with FICA. We've got the deductions of only the health insurance premiums, and then the 7.65% that's levied on the rest of the income, for a total of $11,781. And lastly, for the state of New York, we've got the total deductions on the left side of $25,200. We got these 2, 4, 5 brackets here, including those very narrow ones at the 4.5% and 5.25%, which gives a total tax from the brackets of $76.61. No credits offered from New York, unfortunately, at least the standard credits here, leaving a total estimated income tax of $76.61 for the state. Now, 2 things for New York. One is they do allow, New York is one of the states that does allow for local taxes. So if you live in New York City or Yonkers, you are subject to their own taxes as well as federal FICA and the state of New York. And 2 is there may be other credits or deductions around for very unique circumstances that I just can't input into the CMT. That's way too granular. So again, please consult a tax professional or a tax attorney to get very specific actual tax liabilities. These are only estimates. Okay, that concludes the CMT, all the steps, all the tabs, all the income tax analysis, all the things. Congratulations on making it to the end. I wish you the best of luck in your job searches and your job negotiations, and getting better educated and better informed on all the components of compensation for a job. And I hope this example shows that a higher salary does not necessarily mean it's a better job offer overall. Okay, thanks again, and best of luck.